Hello guys, welcome to another how-to video tutorial on programming with modern C++. This is Prof and I am very excited to meet you. In this tutorial, I am going to show you how to set up DevC IDE with a modern TDM-GCC compiler which supports C++ 17. Now, DevC++ is a C++ IDE, and we know IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So we can have it, or it comes with the compilers, debuggers, profilers, and the tools that we need to write our C++ applications. However, the default compiler that is associated with the DevC is kind of old. I think it's the version for GCC version 4.9. okay, and what I want us to do is integrate a more modern compiler which supports the C++ 17 syntax or programming language. Okay, so that is what we are going to do in this video, and anyone who really wants to participate and follow in this tutorial, you have to go through this video and do the installations and set it up as I do. Okay, all right, let's get started. So all right, so what we are going to do is to open our browser and type in the URL to the SourceForge website. Okay, I have pasted the link in there so you can check it now. So this is DevC++, and it says that it's a free, portable, fast, and simple C++ IDE brought to you by OrwellDEVCPP. So this is actually the software that we are looking for. Now the next thing you do is to click on the download and allow it to process. Okay, so download will start shortly. Okay, so if you are using IDM or any downloader, however you download your stuff, it's just that same thing. So I'm going to save it in my downloads folder. Okay, so take note of the name DevC++ version 5. Okay, and you can see that by default it comes with TDM-GCC 4.9. okay, so let's install it. All right, now we also need another software which is the compiler that we are going to use. Okay, and we can find that one too at this website. So this is the TDM-GCC 9.2 release. Okay, so what you have to do next is to go to the download. Okay, go to the download section, and we actually want this one, the middle one. Okay, it says the 64 and 32-bit. is that okay? So I don't know if you know your machine is a 64-bit or a 32-bit, just download the version that you want, but at best download this version which is made up of the two versions. Okay, so it's just a 57 megabytes file. Let's save it, and then we are good to go now. All right, so depending on your internet speed and how fast your computer is, if you are using Core i Tortoise or if you are using Intel Bodybuilder Edition, well, then you know that it is definitely going to take some time. All right, so let's just wait and allow it to download. All right, so the download is complete now, and so what we have to do first is to go to is to install the DevC++ IDE. Okay, so you know where you installed, you saved the file you downloaded. I stored mine in my downloads folder. So DevC++, where are you? Here is it. Okay, so just double click on it like you install any other tool. Yes, accept it. And let me say, DevC++ actually works on only Windows environment. I don't know it for other platforms. Okay, all right, yes, select English. I agree. Of course, if you don't even agree, you can't do anything about that. Okay, remove old configurations. Now you don't have to do that if you have already installed DevC++. Okay. All right. Yes, I am okay with where it wants to install. Okay, so now hit on the install, and it's going to take some time to install, so let's allow it to do so. All right, so the setup is complete. Now what I want to do next is to run the DevC++ and configure it. Okay, so hit on make sure you've checked this and hit on finish. If you don't uncheck it, if you don't check it, you can just click on finish and go to your start menu and launch DevC++ from it. Each of them, whatever way that you use, works perfectly. Okay, so let's hit on finish, and it's going to start the DevC++ application. Let me minimize this folder. All right, so here is it, DevC++. So we have to configure it. Okay, so originally, yes, I'm going to use the English. Okay, now we have something called the theme, how you want your DevC++ to look like. I think I like the classic plus. Yeah, I'll go with that. And I like these icons. Yes, my fonts, do I have Comic Sans? I think I'll just go with Consolas. Okay, go with Consolas. Yes, hit next. Now yes, just go okay. All right, so this is basically the interface for DevC++. Very boring, but hey, it is pretty on the inside. Okay, it is pretty on the inside. All right, so the thing I'm going to do is to set it up for myself. Okay, you totally don't have to do it, but with the exception of the compiler configuration. But usually I want to have my DevC++ in a particular way, so I'm going to do that. If you love it, you can also do the same thing. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is the style of code formatting. I prefer what we call the Java style. Okay, so the Java style, this is the difference. This is how it works. Whenever you open a brace in a function or any block, the opening of the brace actually is in line with the function's signature. Okay, in this format. Okay, and that is how I actually prefer my my DevC++ to all. That is the coding style I use. You don't have to use it anyway. All right, and yes, I want maximum line to be 80. Yes, I want you to indent cases. Labels, yes, I want you to indent labels too. So if you don't like the Java, there are other formats. Okay, there are other formats, but I am okay with the Java style. All right, once you are done, just hit OK. All right, now the next thing is how the editor should look like. Okay, so for instance, if I start a new project by pressing Ctrl N, okay, let me just type a basic C++ code here, #include iostream, using namespace std int main. Okay, and oh, sorry. Okay, int main. Then I can do something like cout hello world. All right, end line, then return 0. Okay, so this is let me save it as hello world. Okay, so this is a very basic C++ code. Is that okay? Now I actually don't like the coloration, the code highlighting. I don't like it, so I'm going to adjust it small. I can do that under tools, and also I also want to increase the font size. I can do that under tools, editor options. Okay, so here, this is the general. Always make sure you have your line numbers showing. Yes, that one I think it comes by default. Okay, I think everything here is okay with me. Now let's go to the font. All right, I'm using Consolas, but the font size I'm going to increase it to 16. I don't want to use custom fonts. Now the gutter, okay, the gutter is this space here, okay, where the line numbers are showing. So if you want, you can increase the width, but I am okay with size 1. Okay, I don't want to start my line with 0. I don't want to show leading zeros. Okay, fine. Now let's go to colors. There are certain things that I want to change. Yeah, characters, I want them to be black, but my comments, I don't want comments to have this color. I want comments to be gray. Floating point numbers, okay, yeah, I will leave them. Hexadecimals, I'll leave them like that. Identifiers should be black. Now illegal characters, anytime I type an illegal character, I want to know it at once, so I'm going to set it to yellow. Okay, now any form of number should be purple, so floating points, so all numbers should be purple. Octals should also be purple. Now my preprocessor directive, okay, I will leave it at green. It's green, okay. It's green, okay. Do I usually use green? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with green. Now reserved words, so reserved words are keywords in C++. You can't use them to name anything, okay. C++, they are totally C++ is totally in charge of those words. Once you are writing codes in C++, you can't use those reserved words. So I'm going to give them the navy blue color, okay, so that anytime I see any navy blue thing, I know that it's a reserved word. I'm not going to do anything with spaces. Now I want strings, which is a sequence of characters, to have red color, and I also want my symbols to have not red, but I'll set it to the maroon. Okay, then yeah, so I think I'm okay. Code snippets, code completion. Oh yeah, now I want code completion. I think I'll go with the 180 milliseconds delay. Enable code completion, this is very important. Symbol completion, yes, I want you to complete multi-line comments for me. And the autosave, yes, enable autosave, but I want you to autosave in every 1 minute. This thing can come in handy, okay? So when you forget to save your file, your source code, it will do it automatically for you per the time that you set over here. So I think all is good, and I'm okay. So I'm gonna hit okay, and great. So you can see that I have some changes in here. Is that okay? This thing is previously were black, now it's blue, so all keywords are having that blue color. Yeah, so I totally like it. Now the next configuration that we are going to do is to configure the compiler. So if you look here, we have TDM. By default, DevC++ comes with TDM-GCC version 4.9. This is very old, okay? So what we are going to do is replace it with the version 9.2 that we downloaded. But before we can do that, we have to install it. Okay, so mine was saved in my downloads folder, program files. Okay, so TDM64. All right, so just double click on it like you would install any program, and yes, we want to install it. Okay, so since this is the first time that we are going to install it, we just have to say create. Is that okay? And you should install the, if you are using, unless you are using a 32-bit machine, just go for the second option. But if you are using 32, then just go for the first option. Okay, so this is good with me. Now look at the installation directory. It will be stored on our drive C in a folder called TDM-GCC64. This is very important, and you have to remember where you saved it. Okay, so hit next, and yeah, I think I'm okay with everything here. Added to path, this is very important. Okay, all right, so and there is another version we have installed, all packages. I don't think we need all those stuff, so let's just select C and C++. All right, hit install and allow it to do its work. All right, so it is done installing. Hit next, and yeah, we don't want to read that. Okay, good. So if we go to a file system, drive C, now you can see that there is this TDM-GCC 64 folder over here, okay, which contains the binaries for the codes for the compiler. All right, so now to integrate it into DevC++, go to Tools, Compiler Options, okay, and what we want to do right now is to add compiler set by folder. All right, so we have to browse to drive C and select our TDM-GCC 64 folder. Okay, so it is going to do its own thing and its own magic. All right, so you can see that now the compiler has been set to TDM-GCC 9.2. is that okay? But then we still have the old compilers there. Yeah, just keep them. All right, so there are a few settings that we also want to do. So check this, and it says add the following commands when calling the compiler. We want to explicitly tell the compiler to compile with the C++ 17 version. So the way you do that is to say std equals to C++ 17. is that okay? And we also want to do the same thing on the linker. Okay, so that means that when it is processing our code, it is going to process it with the C++ 17 edition. All right, now let's go to settings. Say support ANSI. Yeah, I think everything here is good for me. All right, and this is the directories, so make sure that the directories are right, the folders that you have your TDM-GCC compiler. Okay, binaries, libraries, includes C++, everything is good here. So these are the tools that we have available. So we'll be using GCC or G++. These are both compilers. Then the make, this is a debugger. Okay, when we talk about debugging, you will understand. And this is a profiling tool. All right, so I think everything is okay now. So just hit OK. All right, so now how do I test that everything is working fine? All right, so let's test it by writing some C++, modern C++ code. Is that okay? So create an integer variable, call it int atomic number, and then set it to 11. Okay, then in here I'll do atomic number of sodium. Atomic number of sodium is, then just use a colon, and then I'll put atomic number. Okay, now this style of initializing variables, okay, it's purely a modern C++. Okay, so if this code compiles without any warning, then yeah, we have everything fine, running correctly. So there are many ways you can compile and run your work. So you can use this to compile. Now if you hit this button, it is only going to compile the code, it won't run it. So after compiling, you can hit on run. Okay, so you can do the process in two different actions, or you can hit on this one which will compile and run it for you. Okay, so that is exactly what I'm going to do. All right, so atomic number, let me reduce, minimize this. So you can see here atomic number of sodium is 11, and then if we go to our IDE, you realize that we don't have any warnings. So error 0, warning 0. So that means that everything is working correctly. All right, so that is all you have to do to set it up. And going forward, this is the IDE we'll be using for the modern programming with modern C++. Is that okay? So every Windows user should make sure he or she has set it up as I have done. Now those using Ubuntu and Mac, I'll see if I can get some cool tutorials online that you can also use to set it up. I know majority of you are on Windows environment and this works fine. Okay, so before I end this tutorial, I want to say a very big thank you to our sponsors and partners, Electronics, Tesken Enterprise, and Siratech Technologies. These people are the people supporting our tutorials and making it possible to deliver. So I want you to get your electronics component from them, both Tesken Enterprise and Siratech Technologies. You can locate Tesken Enterprise at Achemfo Market in Kumasi, and Siratech, you can locate them at China House, Adum. Okay, so take their contacts whenever you need any component, just hit them and get your component from there so that we can continue to bring you free tutorials. All right. However, guys, we still need your support there. Okay, we still need your support. So as many as can send us some donations through Momo, as little as 5 cedis, as much as 100 million Ghana cedis, you are all welcome. Okay, so that is the Momo number and that's the account name. Whenever you send us a Momo, just use the reference TFAMCPP so that we will know that this money is not meant for buying hand sanitizer but for assisting in the Tech Foundation Africa tutorial. All right, guys, thank you for listening to this boring guy here. My name is Professor and this is Tech Foundation.